A lot of people talk about this mythical or that legendary, but you know what? There's a lot of epics and blues that are pretty freaking good as well, let me tell you. And I'm gonna talk about 5 of them today. So let's get into it. So, in no particular order, we're gonna go through some champions here. We're gonna leave out the mythical or legendaries. We're going to talk about epics and blues. And so the first one that I have here is Creodan. Now, depending on when you get them, it's a little bit early. I actually had him really, really early, and I didn't know why he was so good. Really, really, really good in like Fire Knight. Really good in Bommel. Really good in Spider. Really good in Arena, Grimforce, and any boss really that requires freeze. So, what does this guy actually do? Let's have a look at his skills. His A1 attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 25% chance of placing freeze debuff for 1 turn. Then we have Razor Hail, attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 45% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn, and that goes up to 65% chance fully booked. Then we have Blessing of the Blue, places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also fills the turn meters of all allies by 15%. And then we have Snow Dancer, which is passive, fills the champion's turn meter by 5% for each debuff placed by this champion. Now, I've mentioned a couple places where he shines, but I cannot stress this enough. In Doom Tower, okay? Especially if you're struggling, especially the harder stages. When you get up to hard and you get up to like the last 30 stages, the fact that you have freeze and control is so important. So Creodan helped me, like he carried me through Doom Tower to some degree. And then now I have Hilvi, which is also doing like freeze and HP burn, which is really good. But having that freeze is really, really, really important. Again, if you're struggling on Bommel, which I know a lot of people do in the beginning, I was one of them, you can freeze those bombs. That means they do half the damage, which is just so great. And yeah, again, you have Fire Knight as well. Fire Knight appears also in Cursed City. So, all in all, he is a really, really, really good control champion. Okay, next one. This guy, you can fit him anywhere, and he's good. Like, I used him literally everywhere, and it's Deacon. Okay? I mean, all of these are not early game or late, like mid game, late game. It all depends on when you get them. But if you have any of these characters that I'm mentioning, like, really good. That's really good for you. Congratulations. So Deacon, again, he's good everywhere. But specifically with turn meter boost, he has tons of AoE. He has turn meter boost and turn meter steal. He has decreased defense and he has leech. And I mean, whether you're doing live arena or if you're doing classic arena or tag team tournament or even anywhere PvE wise, this guy is really, really good. So let's go through his kit. Maze of Contempt attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns. That goes up to 50% when he's fully booked. Then we have Sweeping Retribution. Attacks all enemies. Has an 80% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense buff, a debuff for 2 turns. And this goes up to, I guess, 100%. Yeah, when he's fully booked. Then we have Time Compression, fills the turn meters of all allies by 15%, and decreases the turn meters of all enemies by 15%, grants an extra turn. So usually what you do is A3, and then you go in with the A2, and then that leaves you with, like if you're doing arena, for example, that fills the whole, like, your turn meter of all enemy or all allies, first of all, also decreases theirs. So in a way where they would go second, now they're not going second anymore, now you're going before that. As well as decreasing all their defense, which puts them at a very vulnerable stage, especially if you have someone who hits hard. You go in with Deacon, turn them down, decrease the defense, and then boom, hard hit. And that could, like, literally, I mean, one-shot teams. And then he also has a speed buff. This guy, again, I don't need to emphasize exactly where I use him because I literally use him everywhere. He's also really, really good for example, Demon Lord. If you don't have anyone else, you need Leech. Okay, you have the health from there. And you have your Deacon's defense. You can go faster. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's Deacon for you. All right, another one that I it's pretty obvious. And I cannot, like, when I show you this character, I'm very, very, very ashamed that this character is not level 60. Yeah, I know. It's Coldheart, okay? It's level 50, I know. I just had a bunch of other legendaries that I had to, and epics that I had to just prioritize. But, that being said, even though she's level 50, she's helping me out a ton. And everything I mention about her right now is just gonna be like, so why is she not 60? I know. She's gonna get there. Trust me. Okay, so Coldheart. In general, she hits really hard, specifically with the A3. Does tons of AoE damage as well. And then she has a heal reduction on her A1, which is really, really good. So, let's go through a kit. Flurry of Arrows attacks 4 times at random. Each hit has a 25% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. This goes up to 35% chance. Then Art of Pain attacks all enemies, has a 30% chance of placing a 50% decrease accuracy debuff for 1 turn. Places a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns if the target is under healing reduction. Then Heartseeker. This is where, like, the enemy max HP is the reason why it hits so hard. Heartseeker, her A3, attacks 1 enemy, decreases the target's turn meter by 100%, and has a extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Has an extra 30% chance. Yep, cool. Just thought I read that wrong. Damage increase according to enemy max HP. So, I haven't personally put her in a stun set before. But her, and then there's another champion that I'm gonna quickly mention if I can find her. I don't think she's even in, I believe she's in my vault, honestly. Hold on, give me a sec. There she is, Soulbound Boyar. Her A1 is also attacks all enemies, which, one thing that's popular with a champion that has like a attacks all enemy on the A1. Some people do with the stun set, which helps with control in like Doom Tower, for example, as well as Curse City. So that's just an honorable mention for Soulbound Boyar, as she's a rare as well. But going back to Coldheart, she has been a hero for me in Curse City. And whenever I need, to some degree, consistent healing reduction, as long as I have her with a lot of accuracy, or just some sort of accuracy buff, she lands it. I mean, yeah, it's almost 50% chance landing. So Doom Tower, to some degree, Curse City, and Grim Forest. Grim Forest specifically because of the Mimic. She is my go-to gal when it comes to defeating the Mimic. Yeah, it's not 100% healing reduction, obviously, but it's still a 50-50 reliable option. So she helped me out a lot there. So yeah, that's Coldheart. Then we have mean, it's the champion. It is the first champion you should pick when you can decide between Gaelic, Kale, Aethel, and oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. Elhain, holy shit, there she is. Oh my god, that took a while. Holy shit. Okay, so this is the guy you should pick at the beginning of your Raid Shadow Legends journey. It is Kale. Okay? Kale from the start. Okay, he's been, well, actually I didn't pick him in the beginning. I picked someone else, and I'm so very, very embarrassed by it, but I'm blaming that I was a new player, you know. But Kale, I wish I picked him early, or like in the beginning, because he hits so freaking hard. Kale has poison, he has huge AoE damage, and basically he carried me through like a little bit into early game, mid game. Well, I wouldn't say I'm in late game, but yeah, long time in mid game. So let's go through his kit. Dark Bolt attacks one enemy, has an 80% chance of placing a 2.5% poison debuff for 2 turns. His A2, Acid Rain, attacks all enemies, has an extra 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Fill the turn meter of this champion by 25% for each enemy killed. Disintegrate attacks 4 times at random, has a 40% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. And with books, that goes up to 50%. And for here, it is 100%. So, the whole poison thing, really good in Demon Lord. So both the poison for Demon Lord and obviously other places as well can hit really hard. As well, if you mix in Kale with poison sensitivity, we have a couple champions that can do that, and let me just quickly check who that was. Hold on. She mixes up very well with Frozen Banshee if you get her early game. So, simple reason is poison sensitivity buff. We also have someone else who is really good with Kale, and I'm gonna quickly just I know he's here. Here he is. Messiah Gorn Priest, and he also has a poison sensitivity. So poison sensitivity with Kale, really nice. Besides that, dude, his A2 hit like in the early game, and even like in classic arena, like just early game, early mid game, his A2 can freaking clap so hard, and it's so satisfying to see when you basically one-shot a whole row of the enemies and then just move on. Kale, again, great champion across the board in the beginning. If you are starting Raid Shadow Legends, this is the guy you should go for. Then I can't, it would be illegal for me not to mention this guy. You'll probably understand why if you know about these champions, and if you don't, Geomancer. You've heard about this guy so many times. You should have, at least. Geo, oh my god. The boss killer. All the bosses just tremble and piss their pants when they say Geo. A nightmare to any boss, really. Turn meter control with HP burn, buff steal, decrease accuracy, and damage reflection on the passive, which makes him the nightmare for bosses. Let's go through his quick kit. Can't talk. Let's go through his kit. Tremor Staff attacks all enemies, has a 30% chance of placing a 50% decrease accuracy debuff for 2 turns. This goes up to 40% when he's booked. Creeping Petrify removes all buffs from a target enemy, then attacks them. Dude, imagine if it was all enemies. That dude, I mean, he's already like a legendary in disguise, but alright. Steals all buffs instead if the target is under HP burn debuff placed by this champion. Reduces the cooldown of Quicksand Grasp by 2 turns if the target is killed by this skill while under HP burn debuff placed by this champion. I think I'm gonna sneeze. Quicksand Grasp fully depletes the target's turn meter. Great. Fills this champion's turn meter by the amount the target loses. Has a 75% chance of placing an HP burn and a 25% weaken debuff on the target for 3 turns. This is let's see, that's 100% when he's fully booked. I'm really gonna sneeze. This HP burn with the steel and everything, oh, really, really good. Maybe that's the steel. Sorry, that's his A2. Then, this is what makes Geo Geo. Stoneguard decreases the damage all allies receive by 15%. And reflects that damage onto each enemy under a HP burn debuff placed by this champion. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. This skill will not activate on duplicate copies of this champion if this particular champion is dead. Now, whenever this champion is attacked, deflects 30% of the damage instead. When deflecting damage on each enemy hit, has a 30% chance of dealing additional damage equal to 3% of the target's max HP. If you're doing Demon Lord, I feel like there's a before and after with Geo. When I got Geo, the damage spiked so much, I was like, okay, holy shit. I mean, I know he was good, but damn. He's that kind of guy. Yeah, he is definitely something else. So, and the way I actually pulled him, I don't recommend this, honestly, and I don't think it was the right call for me to +1 the guy, because I've heard that double Geo in some places is nice, but maybe I'm wrong, or maybe, I don't know, but anyways, there was like a progressive chance on this guy, and I was like, bring it on. I need this guy. Everyone's talking about it. I need him. So what I did, and I spent some money, and not much at all, actually. Just maybe the 20 euros or something extra to get some more ancient shards, and I just kept pulling because I was like I think it was on 25 out of 25% chance. I just, you know what? I know it's gonna happen. Now it's 25% chance, and I just kept on going, even though it's not the best idea. I got him, and I was super happy when I got him, and my life changed after I got him. So, there is, man, there are some honorable mentions, dude. There are some champions that I really, really want to point out as well. I'll do another video about that because there's just so many, but the one that I want to sort of specify, there's so many, bro. I feel like I want to change my mind here, but I'm not gonna. I will talk about, boom, this guy. Hold on, let me put him in the set that makes him so sexy. Let's see, preset manager. We have, where is it? I think it's, man, am I gonna sneeze? Am I not gonna sneeze? Here we go. Boom. And then, oh my god, my manager's just... And then, boom. There we go. So, why is Toragi so important for me? I don't have Lady Annabelle. I'm mentioning Toragi, Lady Annabelle. Does anything ring a bell? Maybe, maybe not. It's Bommel. I'm about to fall. It's Bommel. He helps me solo Bommel, not all of them, especially on a hard Doom Tower, but I need a little bit better gear for that. But he helps me to take on most Bommels. The reason being is every time you hit this guy, he has a chance of placing, or I think, well, we can go through his kit, but in general, you hit him, he places poisons on the boss. And with regen set and everything, makes you sort of unkillable to some degree if you have enough HP. And you just back and forth, and you basically poisoning the guy to death. But let's go through his kit. Swamp Club. Attacks one enemy. Has a 30% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack for 2 turns. His A2 attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. The chance increases by 5% for each debuff on the enemy team. And we have his A3, place a shield buff equal to 15% of the max of this champion's max HP, and a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Also heals this champion by 25% of their max HP and places a 30% reflex damage buff on them for 3 turns. The heal increases by 2.5% for each poison debuff on the enemy team. So the A3 combined with this passive is basically what makes him able to solo. When attacked, has a 50% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on the attack for 2 turns, occurs once per hit. So the only thing that sort of screws it up for him, you kind of want to have him and only him. So if you're running like Doom Tower or anything like that and up to Bommel, you want to have champions that can clear the wave easily but then die off. Because if you don't, you kind of have to manual this. And without, you can do it just auto. But what happens is, if you do it auto and you have other allies on your team, his A3, the ally protection, will eventually kill him because he's taking too much damage. And that way, it won't work. But if he's alone, he's not really ally protecting anyone. So that way, he doesn't take as much damage, hence he can solo. But yeah, Toragi versus Bommel, and Toragi wins. And he will win more when I have better gear on the guy. But yeah, that's been the champions that I wanted to highlight. And looking through the roster now, there's a couple more, but save that to another video. What rares or epics do you have that are super important? If there's anyone I missed, which I know there's a lot, but what's your favorite one? Whether it's rare or epic, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.